Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is delivering the khutbatul wida, the farewell sermon from Arafat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then sent down revelation declaring, this day have we perfected for you. This day have I perfected for you your deen. This day have I completed for you my favor unto you. This day have I ordained for you Islam as your deen, your way of life. And so we thought that the job was finished now. Nothing more from Allah. But no, on the authority of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, in a hadith recorded in Sahih Bukhari, the last revelation to come down in the Quran was the revelation on riba in Surah Al-Baqarah, verses 279 to 281. And in that revelation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declared war. Did you hear that? He declared war on the moneylender. And Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam declared war on the moneylender. And I ask of you, if Allah and His Messenger are waging war on the moneylender, waging war on those who are taking riba, waging war on an economy based on riba, and all that you do is to go to the masjid and go back home, go to the masjid and go back home, go to the masjid and go back home, what is Allah going to do with you? Is it not time for us to deliver a wake-up call to those who are sleeping in Wonderland? Riba is by far the most dangerous weapon with which Dajjal is attacking us. There's only one weapon more dangerous than riba, and that is the weapon of shirk. And in riba there's also shirk. If you take a piece of paper and you print a picture on that piece of paper, and then you put a number on it, and remember, I have studied monetary economics. I know what I'm talking about. I studied monetary economics at 2 universities. I know about the Bretton Woods Accord. I know about the International Monetary Fund and about its articles of agreement which have made haram, but Allah made halal. And whoever makes haram what Allah makes halal has committed shirk. And whoever accepts that and follows it has also committed shirk. That's Surah At-Tawbah of the Quran. The International Monetary Fund has made the use of gold as money haram. And that is shirk. If you take a piece of paper in order to replace the gold that you've made haram, the gold dinar that Allah had made halal, the silver dirham that Allah made halal, that Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam and all the prophets of Allah used, all of them. And when Nabi Isa alayhi salam returns, Jesus, the son of Mary, when he returns, it is gold dinar and silver dirham that he's going to use. And Israel knows that. Israel knows that gold and silver is kosher. And Israel is going to be using gold and silver tomorrow as money. But Dajjal takes the gold dinar out of the market and replaces it with a piece of paper. And he prints a picture on it. And he puts a number on it. And then he assigns to that piece of paper an entirely fictitious value. Is he not attempting to create wealth out of nothing? Only Allah creates wealth out of nothing. And is it not an act of shirk? Yes, it most certainly is an act of shirk. They put that paper money there because the value of money is no longer in the money. The value of money is now outside of the money, and it therefore can be manipulated. by you know who, including, of course, George Soros. And therefore they can cause the value of that money to fall when they want it to fall. The United States US dollar began at $20 being equivalent to the value of 1 ounce of gold. 1 ounce of gold. That's a lot of gold, 1 ounce of gold. And then it moved from 20 to 35. If you go to my book, The Prohibition of Riba in the Quran and Sunnah, you'll find the story of how the US government ripped off the American people in 1933, I believe it was, when they manipulated the value of the paper. And from 20, it fell to 35. And the American people lost 41% of their wealth. In the Quran, Allah commands. 3 times He made the command. وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Do not diminish the value of people's wealth and property, wages, their sweat. Don't rip them off. And this was a rip-off. This is haram. And then from 35, in 1971, September 71, when they tore up Bretton Woods, it fell to 40. And then in 1973, when the war took place, it fell from 40 to 160. 400% collapse in the value of the US dollar. And now it is somewhere in the vicinity of 1700. It's already collapsed. They're just keeping it alive with some kind of a pump, a machine. It is in the intensive care unit in some hospital. And as soon as the attack on Iran takes place, that we are expecting, because they've been broadcasting from the mountaintop there for a night that they're going to attack Iran, the first thing that's going to happen, if and when Iran is attacked by Israel, is that within hours the US dollar is going to start tumbling because the price of oil is going to start rising. Today oil is now money. Oil is now gold because the US dollar has been able to ride high all these years because it was locked to gold, thanks to the Arab OPEC countries. Thanks to OPEC, the US dollar remained flying high all these years because oil was gold. Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam did tell us. He said in Akhiru Zaman that the river Euphrates will uncover a mountain of gold. There are those who say, if Allah and His Messenger and if the companions of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, the early Muslims, the Salaf, if they, the Aslaf, did not interpret anything other than literally, then we have no right to interpret it other than literally. And so they are waiting for a mountain of the metal. We say to them, brother, you got a long time to wait, because this is religious symbolism. That when Allah's Messenger spoke about the mountain of gold, He was not speaking about the metal. No. And when He spoke about the donkey, the flying donkey, with his ears stretched out wide, on which Dajjal was riding, He's speaking not about a donkey, but about the aircraft. And He's speaking here not about the metal, a mountain of the metal, but He's speaking about the black gold which has already come out of the river Euphrates and the Persian Gulf. And it's oil, black oil. That oil has been functioning as gold for all these years. It is that oil which has functioned as gold which has kept the US dollar riding high. And now the time has come when they no longer need it. And so as the price of oil goes up, the US dollar will tumble. And I am anticipating, and of course I can be wrong, I'm anticipating that the US dollar will now be demonetized and will be replaced by another money, which will be a fraction of the value of the present dollar. As the US dollar tumbles and is demonetized, I understand what's going to happen in the rest of the world. All the weak currencies, you know, there are hard currencies and then there are the rest. The rest are going to be in a state of panic. Panic. And people are going to be trying to dump their paper, their Indonesian rupee and the Pakistani rupee and the Bangladeshi taka and their Egyptian pound as fast as they can because of something called runaway inflation. Most of mankind, the poor masses, are going to lose whatever they had. The cost of living is about to increase dramatically, spectacularly. And that cost of living, accompanied by the decline in wealth, an increase in poverty, is the script which spells economic slavery. I believe that it is happening at this particular time because it will facilitate Israel's quest to rule the world. That the poor masses around the world, most of them Muslims, the poor masses around the world will be immobilized because of extreme poverty and destitution and unable to launch any kind of a threat to Israel. In addition, of course, to the economic and monetary slavery that's coming, about which the Prophet ﷺ warned us, because did he not say to Angel Gabriel, Jibreel alayhi salam, that one of the signs of the last day is أَن تَلِدَ الْأَمَةُ رَبَّتَهَا, that a slave woman will give birth to her mistress. If it's a baby boy, the baby boy will not rule over his mother, who is a slave. But if it's a baby girl, the baby girl will rule over her mother, indicating a tomorrow which is to come in Akhiru Zaman, when women will rule the world. Indicating that there's going to be a spectacular collapse in the birth of baby boys. Indicating that women who have lost their fertility and also femininity, by the way, because of Dajjal's feminist revolution, who are now infertile, would have to turn to surrogate parenting, surrogate motherhood to get babies. And the cheapest one of all would be the slave woman. And so we have in this hadith an indication to us that there is slavery at the end of history. What do we do? How do we respond? Remember, this is not the only strategy. To be clear about reality, we must not only be clear about the economic and monetary reality, but also the political reality. A United Nations organization with a Security Council which declares that it is Al-Akbar, that you have to obey the Security Council, that there is no law. There is no law higher than the law of the Security Council. So what about Allah's law? What about Allah's authority? What about Allah's sovereignty? This is shirk. This is political shirk. And that United Nations organization with its Security Council, which is dominated by the Zionists, is now moving towards enforcing world government. And when Israel takes over from the United States of America, and a man emerges in Israel who will not be Mr. President, no, not Mr. Prime Minister, no, but His Majesty the King. Why? Because Nabi Dawood alayhi salam was a king. And Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam was a king. And so Dajjal will have to claim that he is a king as well. When that state of Israel takes over from the United States of America as the new ruling state in the world, it will not only exercise economic dominion, but also political dominion over the rest of mankind. There is much more to the subject, but my time is coming to a close, and I know you have lots and lots of questions to ask. There is also a military component or military aspect to this matter, and that is that in the same way that Britain was led to the verge of defeat, and the United States had to intervene to save Britain from defeat in the First World War, and again in the Second World War. In the same way that the United States took over from Britain because Britain was led to the verge of defeat, similarly I am anticipating that the United States is now being led by its nose, and the nose, of course, is Congress, and the President of the United States and those who control the armed forces cannot overrule Congress. Congress is leading them by the nose. The United States armed forces are being led by the nose to a situation in which they are going to face military defeat. And only Israel will be able to intervene. And hence I am of the opinion that that trap is somewhere in the Arab world, somewhere close to Israel, perhaps in Saudi Arabia. And when Israel intervenes to save the United States from defeat, it will then be clear to all of mankind that the United States is no longer the ruling state in the world, and that Israel has now replaced the United States.